Spooky Stitches, the podcast that is 50% ectoplasm and 50% wool. My name is Sheena Peril. I'm the author of 11 books, and I am also the resident knitter and spooktress. Is that even a word? Which, we'll go with it. Happy October. It has been a while since we've had a sit-down chat. Basically, I started a job and then I lost a job. I was temping. My contract was supposed to end in January, and then it was supposed to end in mid-October, and then it was mid-November, and then it was February, possibly March, and then it was next Friday, and then it was yesterday. So that's been my week. Yeah, it's been kind of a nightmare. I've had literal nightmares this week, and things have been really busy. I got a haircut. That's a thing that happened. I got married. And I have a new job starting not this coming Monday, but the next Monday. So it's been a roller coaster. Yeah. It's been a whole lot going on, and I have not had the time or the spoons to sit down and record. I was putting it off initially in September just because I hadn't gotten a lot of knitting done. I was working on other things, and the things I was working on were just like that slog of you knit and knit and knit for hours and it looks like you haven't done a thing on it. So I was putting off anyway until I had some finished objects to show. And then it was a lot. It was a lot. We're gonna go with that. And yeah. So that's where I have been. I did manage to get the publishing roadmap out. That is a booklet that you can download off of my Gumroad shop, which is linked down below. And basically it walks you through all the different types of publishing paths that you can take, whether you want to be traditionally published, self-published, if you write serials, if you want to write for magazines, working with small presses, whatever path you choose to take. This kind of gives you some guidelines. There are worksheets for you to fill out. There's a quiz to help you determine what route is best for you and the way that you write and the way that you work. So just kind of helping you tailor your writing career to you. I also want to say a huge thank you to my patrons who have been supporting me through all of this. We've had a really rough month financially for various reasons, and the whole temp yo-yo was not helping. So I just want to say thank you to my friends and patrons and others who helped us out. It means the world to us, and hopefully we will be able to start paying it forward again soon. So I know everybody is going to ask about wedding. I didn't make a big deal of it. We are a platonic couple. We are best friends. We got married for healthcare reasons and because my family lives very far away. So if something happens, this way we have protections. And it's kind of sad that, you know, you have to get married in the US in order to have these protections and these sort of fallbacks. But that is an entirely different podcast that we're not going to get into. So I just want to show you a couple things. I'll put some pictures of the ceremony up here. We're still waiting on the more formal photos to come back. This necklace was actually my wedding present. And this was from Ash. And it's a silver Eye of Horus with lapis lazuli that came from Egypt. And then I have issues with necklace chains. Like they get caught in my skin or I have allergic reactions to them. I react to a lot of metals. And because of my Hashimoto's, I have a little bit of swelling right here from my thyroid. So I really can't stand to have any kind of pressure tight on my neck. So she very kindly got me this really nice chain. It's a box chain and it's just the right length. So it's working out very nice. I don't react to stainless steel, which is what the necklace chain is. And I have been wearing it quite a lot. We are also still waiting for our normal wedding rings to come in. Right now I'm using a temporary wedding band and so is Ash. So this is the temporary band. It is actually, I don't know if I can get it to focus. It's a gold fleur-de-lis with little crystal chips on either side. And this was actually my present to myself when I published All for One, which is a gender bent retelling of the Three Musketeers that you can find linked down in my shop. That was very special to me because that book actually won a prize. Well, it came in second. So that was really special to me. The ring that I wanted to wear doesn't actually fit me anymore, unfortunately, because of my Hashimoto's. It's a very small, delicate ring that I got from my maternal grandma, and I couldn't wear it. So let me show you what I did. Okay, so this is the flower crown that I wore, and the flowers came from Michael's. I just used some tape, washi tape, to wind them together, and then I went over it with ribbon. And then these little knit pumpkins, they came from the Dollar Tree, and they have little clips on them that you can see down here. And I just clipped them on wherever I wanted them. But because these are fake flowers, I can just pull off the florals and then put them back on. So this is the ring from my grandma. And what I did is, you can see it almost fits, but not really. Like once I get this on, I cannot get it back off again. So I just popped off one of the flowers, slid that onto the stem, and then put the flower back. And that's how I was able to wear it. I really miss wearing this ring. It means a lot to me, but unfortunately, because of the weight I gained because of my chronic illness, I can't wear it anymore. Anyway. Oh, right. Let me show you my finished objects because I do have one wedding related finished object. So this is an improvised pattern, and this was my gift to Ash, which I finished 2 days in advance so that she could wear it if she wanted to. In the end, she didn't, which is fine. It was 80 degrees the day we got married. It was October 1st. We thought because this is Washington that it would be like 60 and raining, and it was 80 degrees and sunny because Washington is having some kind of personality issue this year and hasn't figured out that it's fall yet. So I can't get the full thing in frame. I haven't figured out how to photograph it yet, but it's a circular shawl. It has these little bands of lace that go all the way around, and it's got a spiral. So this is the unique sheep, green sheep cotton bamboo, and it's in the colorway Spice. And then this is just some number 10 crochet cotton held double in the colorway Stone, Slate, I think it's Stone. It's just like a very basic crochet cotton that I picked up at Joann's. And that gave me just enough. I have 2 little balls of leftover yarn from this that are about the size of a walnut. So I used up just every scrap. So I steam blocked it because we didn't have a place where it could lay flat for hours or days to dry. But we got a steamer for our wedding, so I was able to steam it after we got married. It was a whole thing. I was actually debating going to my mother-in-law's house and pinning it to her guest bed before the wedding. And I knew she was going to have company because Ash's brother came from Portland, so they needed a place to stay. And I'm like, I really don't want them to sleep on a wet bed. So I didn't do that. But that was the only place I could think of where it might be undisturbed for a couple of hours. That is my only FO, and that's because I spent basically all of September and working on it just like nonstop. I did finish a pair of hand warmers. I don't know if I shared them with you or not, but those have already been gifted. I will talk about that a little bit more later. Okay, I do have a sweater that I started that I can't show you because it's been living in my desk at work. It's what I work on my breaks. Except I lost my job on Friday and I was already on my way home when I found out. So I'm going in on Monday to like clean out my desk and everything. And I will take some photos then that I can post to Instagram and everything. But if I had known, I would have cleaned out my desk on Friday because I was already starting to take things home because I knew it was kind of coming. I just didn't know when. But it kind of caught me off guard. I was like 10 minutes from the office and got a call from the temp agency like, hey, congrats, you got the job. Your current employers decided to cut your contract as a result. So instead of like working through my job, getting off on Friday, cleaning out my desk, and then starting the new job on Monday, now I have a week off in between. And I apologize if my voice is a little bit froggy today. Our weather has been going up and down. It was cold 2 days ago and now it's warmed up again. There's been a lot of pollen. The trees are shedding. It's been a whole thing and my allergies do not like it. So we're coping. And one of the ways I cope is by knitting. So this is the main project that I've been working on lately. And it finally is starting to look like a thing. So this is the hood, and then this is the upper back of the By Pride sweater. I am almost to the point where I can join for the underarms. So these slits right here are going to be the sleeve openings. And then I just need to bring down what I had made for the front to match the back, just because I wasn't sure how long I needed to make everything. But for demonstration purposes, I can actually do this now. Okay, so it's got the hood, and then this is the front section. Okay, so I did need a bit more length on that than I thought. Yeah, okay. And then I'm kind of going back and forth between the fronts and the backs, and then once they're equal and meet under the arm, I can join them and then keep going with the rest. This is for my friend Becca, who has been a huge help to us since we moved out here. She's a very good friend, and she and her husband basically got sweaters for life after they helped us move last year. They've just been there for us since we moved here. They were in our wedding. She actually wrote the vows that we said because there aren't a lot of pre-written vows available for platonic weddings. So she wrote a very, very lovely piece, and my father-in-law actually performed the ceremony. So there were only about 8 of us. My mom wasn't able to make it. We were really hoping she'd be able to, but yeah, it was just like a very small family affair, and we decided to get it done when we did because of all the legal stuff that is going on right now and the rolling back of rights and things like that. So we felt that now is a good time to do it so that we don't lose the opportunity to do it in the future. So the last piece that I've been working on is the Argyle sweater vest, which I don't think you've seen in a while. It was just kind of hibernating because I had ripped out a bunch of stuff, and then I realized I had accidentally moved my progress keeper before filming. So I've actually done more on this than it looks. So there's the progress keeper. I actually moved it from about here. So this is just a pearl diamond sweater. And then I apparently lost the ability to count. So that's why I have all of these stitch markers here. I went through every stitch marker in my collection basically and then had to make new ones. So some of these are brand new, like the candy corn. Some of these are older ones that I just already had, like the flamingo and the little yellow triangle. I've got a little skull on there that I made just using some leftovers from stitch markers I have in my shop. Oh, the sweater yarn the color is called Boysenberry. It is discontinued, and it is this stuff, Moda bamboo wool. And then this is Knit Pick Stroll Tweed in the colorway Atlantis. But yeah. Oh, I should tell you, I was working on the sweater. I've been working on it quite a lot. And Morgan got jealous. And when she gets jealous, she chews on my needles. I don't know if you can see that, but she just like totally chewed up this. It got stuck to the yarn. It was really bad. So I managed to switch it out to another size 6. I had an interchangeable in my stash, but this is my only fixed size 6. And I don't know when I can order a new one. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks because of the whole like paycheck temp thing. So what I did is I just took a lighter and kind of melted down all the rough spots. And it's not good as new. Like there is definitely still damage here. The camera isn't really picking it up, but I can see it. It made the plastic bubble a little bit, so the texture isn't as smooth, but it no longer has teeth on it. So I think I can kind of make this work if I need to. I'm hoping I don't need to. But this is going to go in a safe place now. It's just been sitting on my desk waiting for the podcast so I could show you. And I'm back to keeping my knitting under lock and key, which I didn't think that I had to do anymore because we no longer have a yarn-eating cat. We used to have a cat who loved to eat socks and knitwear. He chewed holes in a $200 dress that belonged to a friend of mine. I mean, he was a nightmare. He was the cutest little asshole you ever met. But he was a jerk. And I thought my knits were safe since he has passed away. But yeah, no. At least Morgan goes after the needles and not the yarn. So, I mean, it's easier to swap out a needle than it is to fix a hole in a sweater. But it's getting expensive. So, yeah, I need like a lock box to put my knitting in. Okay, so that is it for whips and FOs. I do have a couple of acquisitions that I have made. One of them I'm not going to pull out and show you because it's boring. I lost all of my tapestry needles, so I went out to Michael's and bought 6 packs. So I've got about a dozen now. I was trying to order online and do like an in-store pickup, and according to the Michael's and Joann's websites, there were no tapestry needles available in the state of Washington. And I'm just like, well, that doesn't sound right. So I went to Michael's on the way home, and they were just like hidden in a little corner in the yarn section, and I found them and I took all of them. The other thing that I bought, this was on clearance at Joann's, and I'm going to preface this by saying that the author is dead and I do not support her work, and that trans women are women, trans men are men, and get your paws off our reproductive rights. However, I am not made of stone, and Hogwarts is still home. So this was on final clearance. I've been staring at it for a year, and I finally caved in because it was the last one left. And this is just a planner, and I play a game on Ravelry, which has officially divorced itself from the original books. We support all people. And it's the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup. I usually sort as Ravenclaw. And what I'm doing for this is going to be where I keep my class prompts, because I'm a nerd and I do competitive knitting. And then I also use this. So this top row, I keep track of like any milestones I reach, like if I finish something. Down here is anything that I've spent on my knitting. And then down here is the progress that I make on a daily basis. And yes, I went ham with the stickers because I like stickers. And now I'm almost out of stickers that came with this, and I'm thinking about buying more, but I refuse to support the person who made this. So I'm not giving her any more money. I feel guilty enough that I bought a planner, but it brings me joy. So I got this, and then once I'm done using, like once I've filled this up, I think what I'm actually going to do is cut off the spiral and then punch holes for my disc-bound planner into it and use it as a cover for that, and then use half-page filler paper. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's pretty and I'd hate to throw it away. So on Ravelry, I'm kind of known as KnotMagick's home for wayward yarn, which is basically if you have yarn you are trying to destash, I will happily take it off of your hands, usually with no regard to what it is. I don't buy a lot of yarn. I can't buy a lot of yarn. I take what I can get and I make it work. This is an entire bag of knit picks. It's 10 skeins of comfy worsted. One of my friends had bought it for a sweater, decided they didn't like the yarn. I use this all the time. Colorway is called Celestial, and it is Pima cotton and acrylic. I use this a lot for Ashes stuff because it doesn't contain wool and it's very soft, and it's hardy, and it doesn't pill quite the way the just plain acrylic or just plain cotton does. But this is more my color, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have 10 balls. I am going to use a few for the By Pride sweater. I had a yarn from my stash already picked out, but it's a little bit lighter, and that matches the blue in the By Pride flag a bit better. So it's going to be the pink, and then I have a purple, and then I've got that blue. Okay, I had to take a break there to let my battery charge. I also got kind of chilly, but that's like a me thing, not a weather thing. If I sit still, I get cold. If I'm up and moving, I get sweaty. It happens when your metabolism is broken. So anyway, so what have I been watching, reading, and playing? Honestly, not a ton. I've not been playing video games. I've been listening to more podcasts than I have been audiobooks. I haven't been sitting down to read anything. Like I said, this month has just been a lot, and I have had very limited spoons to work with. However, we did watch all of She-Hulk, which was pretty good. Not crazy about the season finale. So I'm kind of burned out on the whole Marvel cinematic universe thing. It's just gotten to be a lot, especially once they start doing like multiverse and all of that. And I'm over it. Okay. Like, I love the original X-Men, and it's great that we're starting to see comic book stuff become mainstream, but calm down a little, maybe. It's just a lot. So we did watch She-Hulk, which I thought was pretty funny. We also watched Hocus Pocus 2, which I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it was very sweet. It got to be a little saccharine in places, but it was good. I thought it was fun. I loved Cobweb the cat. I want Cobweb the cat to come back in something else. And then we also started watching a series on, I think it's Amazon Prime, and it's called A Private Affair, and it's a 1950s or 1940s. It's kind of questionable when it's set. It's post World War II. It's in Spain, Spanish language with subtitles. And if you enjoy Miss Fisher's murder mysteries, I think it's Marina is the main character. She has a lot of like young Phryne Fisher energy. But her father is a police commissioner. He passes away. Her brother takes over the role, and she ends up getting dragged into this serial killer case that's happening in the area. And she keeps going to her brother like, hey, something's going on. And he's just like, can you please just like sit home and embroider something because you're driving me crazy. So she is not that type. She spends a lot of time climbing over walls and like sneaking out with her butler, who is fantastic. I absolutely love it. The guy who plays the butler, he's Spanish, but he immigrated to France, changed his name, and now he acts in like Italy, Spain, France, Belgium, and I think a couple of other countries. But he reminds me a little bit of Gerard Depardieu. So it's a very fun series, and absolutely love it. I need to sit down and rewatch it because I missed a couple of episodes because Ash watched them on her own. But it is a lot of fun. It's a great mystery. So if you're into those period dramas, this is a great one to watch, and the fashion is beautiful. So I think that is all I've really been watching. I did start watching a new knitting podcast, which, hang on just a second, I need to look up the name of the channel. Okay, so it's The Meaningful Stitch, hosted by Amy Palco. She's Scottish, and I watched one episode the other day and I really loved it. And she actually starts each of her episodes by drawing a tarot or oracle card. And I'm like, hey, that would be a really cool thing to do on this podcast. I don't want to like steal her thing or anything, but I do collect knitting and crafty themed tarot and oracle cards. I don't have any hand, but so right there I have the Knitter's Art Oracle. This one is a sewing themed oracle, or I think that's actually a tarot deck. And then I've got 2 more in a drawer over here. So that is definitely a thing that we could do. So if you want me to start doing a card draw either at the beginning or end of an episode, just drop a comment or hit the like button and I will consider it in the future, because I definitely have a lot of knitting themed tarot decks that I don't use enough. So that might be a fun thing to do. I am going to do a very brief knit tea segment this week. I wanted to do something big for Halloween because obviously it's spooky stitches, it's spooky season. But because of all the job things going on and everything, I have decided that I don't have time for it. I keep trying and trying and trying, and I can't sit down and work on it as much as I need to make it the quality that I want. So what I'm going to do is, there's not going to be a spooky segment this week, but tomorrow I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to record a big spooky section, which will go up on Halloween. So instead of a series like I was originally planning, it's just going to be 1 episode, and it's going to be like a cozy knit with me while we talk about a spooky true crime case. And it's going to be a little bit more in depth than I usually do, a little bit longer than we normally do. But anyway, you will see that in a couple of weeks. For this week, let's just get into the knit tea. I haven't done a whole lot. I just haven't been able to keep up on anything the last couple of weeks, unfortunately. So let me pull up my notes real quick. You will find all of the links for this listed down below. Okay, so number 1, Isaku Noro, who is the founder of Noro Yarns, has passed away. He did that on September 2nd, unfortunately. There was a little bit of a thing in Ravelry about it, but you can find out more about his life and his work online. There is also a project by Zooniverse, which I'd never heard of before. And they are like a data collective, and they're looking for volunteers to help sort knitting pamphlets from the early 1900s for machine learning purposes. Again, that will be linked down below. You might have seen that knitting made the headlines at the US Open once again. This did happen a couple of years ago when someone got caught on camera knitting through the US Open, and people were freaking out about it. And pretty much the only people that this is news to is the non-knitters who don't understand keeping your hands busy. I knit through all sporting events that I am forced to attend, which thankfully have not happened in a long time. And then there were 2 other news articles that I found. One was about a teenager who crocheted her own quinceañera dress. And then there was also a woman who knitted her own wedding dress. And I think that these are actually 2 different wedding dress accounts that I've seen recently, and I will link to the ones that I have found down below. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say. Like I said, it's been a lot, but it's just been because everything's in flux. It hasn't been things happening exactly. So that is where I'm going to leave you. We've got another vlog coming up. We're going to have the spooky episode, and then we're going to see what happens the rest of the year, because I have no friggin' clue at this point. I am just about ready to give up on any kind of planning, because every time I think I've got a handle on something, something changes dramatically, and I don't know. I don't know, people. Anyway, I hope that you stay safe and stay healthy, and that you have something cute and fluffy to snuggle with. Maybe not her. She eats needles. Don't snuggle with her. Did you hear her moaning and groaning? Anyway, I'll see you guys in a